The drama surrounding the WNBA has quietly escalated into something far more dangerous than a bad officiating night or another viral clip on social media. What looks like chaos on the court is now bleeding directly into boardrooms, legal meetings, and corporate strategy sessions at ESPN and Disney. And make no mistake, this is no longer about basketball purity, competitive fire, or letting players play. This is about money, control, and a league standing on the edge of a decision that could define its future for the next decade. It started, as many flashpoints do, with officiating that spiraled out of control. When referees lose command of a game and allow repeated physical escalation, emotions inevitably boil over. Competitive athletes will push boundaries when the line is unclear. But what made this moment different was not just the technical fouls, the missed calls, or the post-game frustration. It was the accumulation. All season long, the same pattern repeated itself. Caitlin Clark absorbed contact that went unpunished. Opponents tested how far they could go. Officials hesitated. And the league leadership stayed silent. That silence is now echoing loudly in places the public never sees. Behind closed doors at ESPN headquarters, this situation has triggered a level of urgency rarely associated with women's basketball. Disney executives are not casually debating highlights or programming schedules. These are closed-door meetings with lawyers in the room and data on the screens. Executives are reviewing projections, contractual obligations, and worst-case scenarios. And what they are seeing has them deeply unsettled. The frustration is not rooted in Clark's performance, which remains elite. It is rooted in how the league is handling the one asset that justifies the investment ESPN made in the first place. Before Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, the league's ratings were an uncomfortable truth. Viewership struggled. Games aired in low-visibility time slots. Casual fans simply did not tune in. Then Clark arrived and changed the math overnight. Fever games shattered viewership expectations. Arenas sold out. Merchandise surged. Social media engagement exploded. For ESPN, this was validation. This was the return they expected when they committed hundreds of millions of dollars to broadcast rights. The Caitlin Clark effect worked exactly as advertised. But that effect has a glaring vulnerability, and ESPN's internal data makes it impossible to ignore. When Clark does not play, or when she is not central to the broadcast narrative, ratings drop sharply. Not slightly. Dramatically. 60 to 70% declines are not fluctuations. They are alarms. From a business perspective, that creates an existential dependency problem. The league is being treated as a collective product, but the audience behavior tells a different story. Viewers are tuning in for Clark, not for the WNBA abstractly. And ESPN is watching the league fail to protect that reality. From the network's vantage point, the situation borders on negligence. They see a league allowing its most valuable draw to be targeted physically with little consequence. They see referees swallow whistles during dangerous plays. They see analysts normalize hard fouls under the banner of toughness. And they see a commissioner unwilling to publicly draw a line. That combination terrifies corporate executives because it introduces risk. Not hypothetical risk. Immediate, financial risk. The nightmare scenario is obvious. If Clark suffers a serious injury because officials failed to intervene, ESPN's investment collapses. If she misses extended time, ratings nosedive. If frustration pushes her to consider overseas opportunities or future alternatives, the league's leverage evaporates entirely. ESPN has reportedly modeled these outcomes, and the numbers are grim. Without Clark, the league does not merely plateau. It regresses, potentially to a worse position than before, because the spotlight has already been turned on. Fans who arrived for Clark would not linger out of loyalty. They would leave with her. This is where tension between ESPN and the WNBA has shifted from polite partnership to strained negotiation. According to insiders, conversations are no longer friendly check-ins. They are pointed, uncomfortable exchanges where words like responsibility and protection are being emphasized. ESPN did not invest in chaos. They invested in growth, professionalism, and a sustainable product. What they are witnessing instead feels like self-sabotage. For the WNBA, the stakes could not be higher. ESPN's deal funds everything: salaries, travel, production quality, marketing. Remove that revenue stream and the league does not simply tighten its belt. It bleeds. Sponsors follow networks. If ESPN wavers, advertisers panic. Confidence erodes quickly in sports economics. And once that confidence cracks, it is nearly impossible to rebuild. The most painful part of this crisis is how avoidable it was. The league had every opportunity to establish clear standards. They could have protected Clark early. They could have enforced rules consistently. They could have communicated that star players would not be treated as open targets. Instead, they allowed a narrative of resentment and physical intimidation to fester under the guise of competition. Now, they are paying the price in private conversations that may soon become public consequences. ESPN, as a corporation, has options. They can demand reform and leverage their financial power to force change. They can reduce their commitment and relegate the league to secondary coverage. Or, in the most extreme case, they can walk away entirely. Disney does not stay in partnerships that threaten its bottom line. If executives conclude that the WNBA cannot manage its own growth responsibly, they will protect their interests accordingly. None of these outcomes benefit the players. Reduced investment means reduced salaries, less exposure, slower growth.